As the death toll climbs to 20,000, the breadth of this disaster is slowly beginning to come into full view. Thousands of buildings collapsed, tens of thousands exposed to frigid wintry conditions, schools and hospitals destroyed, and the psychological trauma inflicted on millions.
People are facing nightmare on top of nightmare. The earthquake struck at the humanitarian crisis as the humanitarian crisis in northwest Syria was already worsening, with needs at their highest level since conflict began. And the United Nations has done its best to race to respond. We are deploying disaster assessment experts, coordinating search and rescue teams, providing emergency relief, food, medical supplies, thermal blankets, and other life-saving items. And we are committed to do much more.
He's dispatched his emergency relief coordinator Martin Griffiths to the region, who's already in Türkiye and expected to make stops in Aleppo and Damascus, Syria, as the issue of access remains an obstacle to reaching people in need expeditiously. With only one border crossing currently authorized by the UN Security Council from Türkiye into Syria.
First, access. Roads are damaged, people are dying. Now is the time to explore all possible avenues to get aid and personnel into all affected areas. We must put people first. Second, resources. The humanitarian response, the Syrian Humanitarian Fund and the Syria Cross-Border Fund need an urgent injection of support. They are the best options to enable the UN and its humanitarian partners to rapidly respond to people in need. We have released $25 million from the UN Central Emergency Response Fund to jumpstart the response. By early next week, we will launch a flash appeal for donor support for those affected by the earthquake in Syria.
Guterres echoed appeals for the international response to the crisis not to be politicized.
This is the moment of unity. It's not the moment to politicize or to divide, but it is obvious that we need massive support. And so I would be, of course, very happy if the Security Council could reach a consensus to allow for more crossings to be used, as we need also to increase our capacity to deliver on cross-line operations into Idlib from Damascus.
Pressed on whether cross-line was enough, that is aid moving from government-controlled Damascus into rebel-held territories in Syria.
Crossline is very important. We should do everything we can in crossline, but disaster has such proportions that we need both crossline and cross-border. We need to intensify all forms, and my appeal is for this question not to be politicized. This is a moment in which we all must be together to support people in need. And people that, as I said, has been so generous when supporting others, as both Syrians and Turkish have been in the past with refugees.
As heroic efforts on the ground continue, overwhelmed by needs that are colossal in a region all too familiar with tragedy and pain, in what Türkiye's president has called the disaster of the century. Chauvin Bryceby's SABC News, New York.